is the most vital part in the growth and development of anybody. We need to fail to succeed. And there is no other character that embodies the art of failure quite like Buggy the Clown Pirate. He went from washed up pirate chilling in the East Blue to holding one of the highest seats of status in the entire world right now. All this dude knows how to do is fail. But look at him. He's so up right now. Kinda. Buggy fails with grace, even if you don't mean to. Wealth, fame, power. Buggy already has all three. This man needs his flowers, dude. Peak game. This silly little blue-haired, red-nosed clown represents just about everything I love about One Piece. The impossible wackiness of the series, the heart and soul that comes with a dream, the passion of what makes somebody a pirate, and also the fact that damn near everybody that shows up in this series will find a way to come back and become a fan favorite. If you would have told me this guy was gonna become an Emperor of the Sea all the way back in Orange Town, you would have been laughed at. He's not exceptionally good at anything, and he's kind of a dickhead, but there's something so endearing about watching him fail upwards. Buggy can fail over and over again and still succeed. And if Buggy can win, that means you too can win. That means I too can win. That means we too can win. What's so funny and charming about Buggy winning the way he does is that it never feels intentional. He gets thrusted into these crazy situations that end up in him winning impossibly. And that's honestly what life feels like sometimes. Some of our greatest successes and wins are the most unexpected ever, and that's kind of beautiful. But the reason I will always root for Buggy so much is because of his speech to Mihawk and Crocodile following his little flashback with Shanks. He looked at the greatest swordsman in the world and one of the coldest, most rawest ore farming legends to walk the planet, and he told them they were cowards who lost their wood of dream. And in Crocodile's case, I know that shit, especially deep, dog. Whitebeard literally stripped this nigga of his ambitions on some Luffy shit. I'm not gonna lie though, Buggy better than me, because if I'm Buggy and I'm looking at Dracula, Hawkeye, Mihawk, and Crocodile, Goat, Mr. Zero, Crocodile, I don't really know the last name or if he even has one. But if I'm looking at these two in the eyes, even if I believe that they're cowards, I'm gonna say that to their face. Are you crazy? It's like Buggy had his Vegeta Super Saiyan moment and something just snapped inside of him, bro. He said, what am I doing with my life? Chase a dream, nigga. That's beautiful. But Buggy's dream died for a while too, which is why hearing them talk about their plans so surgically and strategically hit a nerve for him. He lost sight of why he was still a pirate after his basically Pirate King dad died. But now that spark is truly back. From Buggy's POV, it truly had to be like a kind of sad existence, because it's like there's no ambition and you're simply a pirate now because it's really all you've ever known. You grew up on a pirate ship, and not even on a regular pirate ship. You grew up on the Oro Jackson, so it's like Buggy can't just go back to a regular life because there's no regular life to go back to. This grew up on Roger's ship. Buggy's not going to be the Pirate King. He can't be. It literally has to be one of these two. And really, it has to be Luffy. But it's to the point now where I genuinely want to see him achieve his dream. Buggy has so much heart. No lie. You feel me? Heart. Pirates. My fault. The thing with Luffy also is that not even because he's the main character, but because of how Luffy carries himself, you just believe when Luffy says something, he's gonna do it. Luffy gonna do it every time. But like with somebody like Buggy, it's like Buggy didn't even believe in himself for most of his life. That's like so like gut-wrenching, bro. Also, when I said he wasn't exceptionally good at anything, I was a little wrong. Whether he realizes it or not, he's actually really good at rallying people under him, kind of like Luffy does. Something about that is really cool to me too, because it's like, even when he don't believe in himself, somebody still does. Believe in the crew that believes in him. These days, Buggy's really hard to dislike, and I really can't wait for him to meet Usopp. It's actually genuinely insane to me that these two haven't met already. There's something really kind of sad about him looking to Shanks to be the one to achieve his dream when they were kids, because he didn't believe he was capable enough at all. Shanks is literally one of those characters in this story that feel like they should be the protagonist, and Buggy didn't even resent him for shining so bright until Shanks was like, nah dog, I just want to be free on the seas with you. What Buggy seen as a waste of potential was really Shanks just not wanting to be burdened by some imaginary destiny that was thrust upon him. But let me chill, this ain't a Shanks vid, but also that in itself is kind of Buggy's entire life. Shanks and the Shanks conversation overshadowing Buggy is literally Buggy's whole existence, bro. That's actually mad disrespectful. I'm sorry, Buggy. My bad. Buggy's also kind of like the antithesis of a chosen one type of character, which I really like, because there kind of are a lot of Nepo babies in One Piece. But here go Buggy just doing Now, given recent shit in the manga, there's a crazy theory about Buggy's lineage that may actually be true, which would throw a wrench in what I just said. But who knows if that's actually going to be the case. And even if that theory ends up being true, I think it's still impressive that somebody as regular and unsupernatural as him has made it this far. Because look, regardless of who he may or may not be related to, Buggy's still just Buggy. He's still not like no Monkey D-ass big powerhouse. He's just a nigga. And I think that's Buggy's greatest strength. Characters in One Piece that are literally just regular are some of the best characters, I'm not gonna lie. Cross Guild as a concept would have been cool as shit regardless of Buggy's involvement, but the fact that he's the one at the very center of it in terms of the public eye is so great. I don't remember if we've seen Shanks' reaction to Buggy being an emperor yet, but I'd like to think it would make him happy. I just need these two to have a heart-to-heart already, dog. Please. I think Buggy would have really benefited from seeing the characters in fan letters strive for greatness in a world full of larger-than-life legends, but also, I guess, from the POV of like literally anybody in fan letter, Buggy himself is also one of those larger-than-life beings. Buggy literally grew up on a ship with Gold Roger and a bunch of juggernauts, and he ended up being so regular, but that don't take away from the fact that he has dreams too, very big ones at that. Side note, the Cross Guild Jolly Roger being a fusion of Buggy, Mihawk, and Crocodile is some of the hardest ever. It's beautiful. And also the fact that their ship is like mostly Buggy coated, that's some goat shit, okay? Buggy's delivery service is still etched into the DNA of Cross Guild, and I love it. Also the fact that Crocodile is once again on some shadow leader shit, the way he was on Alabasta, cinematic parallels, I be hashtag noticing. But hold on. Let me tag in a goal right quick.
Hey, first off, shout out Next for having me, man. Bro's been a real friend since I started this about a year ago, so go sub to him. If you don't, you smell like onions and cream cheese. But let's talk about Buggy, because the more I think about it, the more it really seems like he's being set up as the craziest wild card in One Piece. Like, at first, he seems like a big joke. He's been failing upwards since day one, but somehow he's a Yonko sitting on like the top of the pirate world. The term failing upwards really does encapsulate it all. Like, even back in Impel Down, bro was in jail and just happens to see Luffy and gets busted out. During the war, he put the feedback on and is just trying to survive, and somehow gains an even bigger following. And now with Cross Guild, we have Crocodile and Mihawk forming like an alliance. Buggy's involved, but somehow Buggy's getting all the notoriety. Bro is failing upwards, and he failed upwards to the ultimate spot, being a Yonko. I do think, however, though, at some point, bro, is not luck and Oda's being mad intentional with what he's doing. I do think by the end of it, Buggy will be an actual force to be reckoned with. He's not just going to be comedic relief the entirety of the series. But with all that being said, it does lead me to two little theories. Next, please put the spoiler warning if everybody's not caught up to the most recent chapter. But we find out that Rox D. Zebek is the father of Blackbeard. But the funny thing about that is if you look up Zebek in Vietnamese, you get Buggy. Now, I would just chalk this up to Oda just being funny and it just being this little quirky thing, except for in one of the flashbacks with Buggy and them on Roger's crew, he's telling somebody to stop calling him Jiro, which translates to second son. So, I don't know, it could be Buggy D. Zebek, who knows? I just wanted to put that out there. But as for the future of Cross Guild, I think they do need to power up, especially if somebody like the Straw Hats or the Blackbeard Pirates decide to get Loki, and I think the best way for them to power up is getting some former warlords. Doflamingo's for sure gonna get broken out and Impel Down, but what might be forced into an alliance, whether she likes it or not. And lastly, most likely Weevil. So I just think that Cross Guild's gonna end up adding former warlords to try and make the crew as powerful as possible, all under Buggy, which is really crazy to say. But now on some real, all jokes aside, Buggy really has capitalized on every opportunity that's given to him, and that's why he's in the position that he's in for real.
And we back. Buggy is the living embodiment of the art of failure and is genuinely beautiful. This man could have been stuck on Impel Down for the rest of his existence, but life has a funny way of working. The same little dude that effortlessly fried you is now helping you escape prison. 2 years later, you loan weapons and mercenaries out to people until the feds come knocking at your door trying to fry your shit too. But then it all works out when the sauciest mob boss in the Four Blues bails you out. Except that mad as at you because you owe him university levels of money for that business you set up. But then it all worked out anyway, man. Shout out Cross Guild. But yeah, the art of failure is truly a poetic thing that we all have to go through. Everybody gotta fail. Hopefully not as hard as Buggy did, but hopefully you succeed as hard as Buggy does. You feel me? Fail hard, win harder. Buggy really failed hard. Buggy really won harder. I mean, Crocodile and Mihawk still be like beating that up on a daily, but he's up right now. Also, we just know that Oda is saving Cross Guild for some crazy shit that's gonna happen after Elbaf. I'm already knowing, cause look, no spoilers. I'm not gonna spoil the manga, but there was one line that was dropped that makes it seem like the outside world is going f***ing crazy right now. Is Cross Guild behind it? Who knows? The revolutionaries certainly are not. Let me show them. Also, shout out 3Kage Summit for the collab, you know what I'm saying? Check out all of his things in the description below. And yeah, shout out Emperor Buggy the GOAT, and shout out you.
can feel my face right now. I'm burning up. I got this feeling that I won't come down. Like, got this feeling that I won't come down. Like, got this feeling that I won't.